Humans are putting increasing pressure on our oceans, and at the same time, we need healthy oceans more than ever. Oceans regulate our climate, provide us with food resources and millions of jobs. Yet, we often forget the ocean cannot do its job without biodiversity. Recent global biodiversity assessments are showing unprecedented loss of species and ecosystems on Earth. Yet, the extent of this biodiversity loss is poorly known in the oceans. We need information to measure and monitor the health of our oceans if we want to confront the urgent environmental, social, and economic challenges facing our oceans today. Our study fills this gap, and using tunas, billfishes, and sharks as sentinels of ocean health, we have developed a global indicator for monitoring ocean health in oceanic ecosystems far away from coastal areas that policymakers can use for tracking global sustainability and biodiversity targets. In particular, we have derived the Continuous Red List Index of Oceanic Predatory Fishes, which tracks yearly changes in extinction risk in oceanic tunas, billfishes, and sharks for over the last 70 years. We find that the global extinction risk in oceanic predatory fishes has increased until the year 2008, and then it recovers. We're finding that tunas and billfish species are recovering after the implementation of management measures, yet the extinction risk in sharks continue to increase. These findings are revealing a core problem in the management of oceanic, multi-year, and multi-species fisheries. While commercially valuable target species of tunas and billfishes are increasingly sustainably managed and recovered, shark species being captured incidentally by the same tuna fisheries continue to decline due to insufficient management action. Overfishing and the lack of effective management measures remain the main risk for oceanic sharks incidentally being caught in tuna and billfish fisheries around the world. So what? Here are two things. Tuna and billfish fisheries, and increasingly some shark fisheries, are important to ensure global food production, sustaining fishing communities around the globe. Yet, these are all predatory species keeping ocean ecosystems in balance, so depletion of these species risks ocean resilience, risking food security and jobs over the long term. What can we do about it? We think it's possible to replicate the successes of tuna and billfish fisheries management in shark. This would involve redefining priorities in international fisheries bodies by setting clear biodiversity goals and targets hand by hand with fisheries sustainability goals and targets, together with implementation of management measures including international trade regulation to reduce shark mortalities effectively. This may include better cooperation among countries for better data collection and assessments, more effective mitigation measures to further minimize the interaction of tuna fisheries with sharks by changing how and where gear is deployed and how species are released from fishing vessels, and also the implementation of science-based catch limits to effectively reduce shark mortality, among others. What else did we find in our study? We also find that our indicator, the Red List Index of Oceanic Predatory Fishes, is highly sensitive and responsive to fishing mortality. Notice how the Red List Index closely tracks the fishing mortality trajectory. When fishing mortality goes down, the Red List Index recovers. In fact, we're connecting for the first time annual changes in extinction risk with changes in fishing mortality globally. So with this, we're providing policymakers with a linked set of indicators for tracking global biodiversity targets and commitments established by the Sustainable Development Goals and by the Convention on the Biological Diversity. Until recently, this indicator, the Red List Index, was available for few taxa groups, basically the mammals, the birds, amphibians, and now this indicator is increasingly being developed for marine taxa groups, including fishes. Altogether, we're increasing the representation of marine species in the Red List of Threatened Species of the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, so we can monitor more effectively marine biodiversity change globally.